Just in case you missed it, here's a clip from our last live broadcast.
I think a lot of these revolutions that we've seen in other parts of the world have a hidden hand behind them. I think a lot of that organization and funding is coming from a source on this side of the ocean, because our own secret agencies, the CIA, for example, have a very strong interest in determining the political outcome of these revolutions, and they are there. Those agents are there, and they have a lot of money, and they're spending that money behind the scenes. And so we see these mass actions, and who organized that? Who paid to have those people show up? That required transportation in many cases. And also, you could ask that question here in the United States. Sometimes you see these demonstrations, these massive demonstrations at the Washington Monument. And if the camera pans over, you see a lineup of buses over there. Might be 80 or 100 buses. Who paid for those buses to get all these people there? And you never hear about that.
Well, now I happen to know that you feel very strongly that the Fed plays a big role in these revolutions and in foreign wars, that the Federal Reserve, it's in their interest to have a big hand in domestic and foreign policy. Is that right?
Well, I think that's true. At the international level that we're talking about, it's not necessarily the Federal Reserve System, which is more of an American institution, but the Federal Reserve is not a standalone. It's part of an international network of similar central banks around the world, and they network with each other at in Basel, Switzerland, at the Bank of International Settlements and so forth, and they're constantly meeting with each other and coordinating their activities. But I do believe that the international banking cartel does have a very strong interest, and that's not an opinion, it's obviously true. They have a strong interest in who's going to run the governments of these nations, and are those governments going to be compliant with the financial interests of this cartel? Are they going to borrow money from the international banks at interest? Are they going to put up the national treasures of those nations as security, collateral against these loans and so forth, which we're now beginning to see in Greece and other places around the world? So yes, this is not even a controversial statement to say that the international banking cartel does have a strong interest in determining how these revolutions turn out, and they are willing to spend money to see that it turns out in their best interest.